The twin suns hung low over the crimson horizon of New Terra, painting the sky in bruised shades of violet and gold. The small settlement of Meridian, 4 stirred lazily in the heat, metal domes gleaming, hovercrafts humming, and the smell of fresh synth fruit drifting from the open stalls of the trading market. Elias Kane adjusted his worn leather jacket and squinted at the fruit vendor's stand. He had no plans for the day except to buy fruit for his ship's rations before heading back into the asteroid lanes. But as he scanned the marketplace, his eyes fell on a stall unlike the others, shimmering with soft blue light, its fruits glowing faintly as though they breathed. Curiosity tugged at him. The vendor wasn't human. She stood tall, slender, with luminous skin that shifted color with every breath, from silver to pale rose to the faintest hue of lavender. Her hair floated like strands of liquid glass, and her eyes, deep turquoise, seemed both ancient and sorrowful. When she noticed him, she smiled, a small, careful thing. "Traveler," she said softly, her voice echoing like music through water. "Would you care to try something sweet?" Elias hesitated, caught between awe and disbelief. "Just looking," he muttered, though his gaze lingered. He'd met aliens before, merchants, diplomats, mercenaries, but something about her presence was different. She wasn't trying to sell him anything. He looked lonely. "Please," she said again, holding out a piece of glowing fruit. "On the house." He took it. The fruit pulsed gently in his hand, warm to the touch. When he bit into it, flavor and memory collided, the taste of something he'd never eaten, yet somehow remembered. He could see the reflection of distant oceans, hear faint laughter, and feel warmth spreading in his chest. Elias swallowed hard. "What is this?" "A memory fruit," she replied, her gaze distant. "It carries fragments of emotion. Those who eat it feel what the grower once felt." He blinked. "Then that warmth I felt." She looked down, her fingers brushing over the other fruits. "That was love. Once mine." For a moment neither spoke. The wind shifted, stirring the faint chime of metal ornaments hanging from her canopy. "You grew these?" Elias asked. "Yes," she said softly. "For someone who no longer exists." He should have walked away then, paid for his fruit and gone back to his ship, but something in her tone anchored him. "What happened to him?" he asked before he could stop himself. The alien woman met his eyes. "He was human. Like you. His ship went down during the harvest storms. I searched for him for many cycles, but..." She smiled faintly, though her eyes glistened. "The fruit remembers him better than I ever could." Elias felt a strange ache. "I'm sorry," he murmured. "Don't be," she said. "The universe takes what it must." He lingered as the market began to thin out, caught between fascination and something deeper. Her name, he learned, was Alyra, a widow of the Sci-fi species, a long-lived race that cultivated emotion through plants and song. She invited him to her greenhouse beyond the market, and against all logic, Elias followed. The greenhouse was breathtaking. It stretched like a glass cathedral into the scarlet sky, filled with plants that shimmered and sang softly when brushed. Alyra walked between them with reverence, her hands tracing the leaves as if greeting old friends. "These fruits," she explained, "are grown from emotion. Joy, grief, longing, even love. They feed not on sunlight, but on memory." Elias crouched beside one, watching as its petals quivered under his breath. "Beautiful," he whispered. "They are all that remain of my bond," she said. "I tend them so I won't forget what it meant to feel." He looked at her, truly looked this time. Behind the shimmering grace and calm voice, he saw isolation, years of silence spent nurturing echoes of love. Do they ever stop growing? He asked. Only when I stop feeling. Something inside him shifted. And yet you keep growing them, he said quietly. You haven't stopped. Alyra turned, her eyes meeting his. Would you? Elias didn't answer. He couldn't. Days passed before he realized he hadn't left. He helped her tend the plants, repaired the irrigation conduits, listened as she told stories of her lost husband's laughter and the human songs he once sang. In return, he shared tales of the void, asteroid mines, rogue traders, forgotten colonies. A bond grew between them, fragile but undeniable. He began to laugh again, something he hadn't done in months. And sometimes, when the suns dipped below the horizon and the fruits glowed brighter, he caught Alyra watching him with the same quiet intensity that had first drawn him to her stall. One evening, as they worked side by side under the soft hum of biolights, Alyra spoke. Elias, she said, do you ever grow tired of leaving? He froze. Leaving? You travel from world to world, never staying long, never letting roots take hold. He smiled faintly. I guess I'm not the kind to settle. Perhaps you haven't found a place worth staying for. Her words lingered in the air, heavy and tender. He turned toward her, and for the first time she reached out, her fingers brushing his cheek. The touch was cool, yet it burned through him like light. He caught her hand, holding it between his. Maybe I just did, he whispered. Alyra's eyes shimmered, reflecting both suns. Be careful, she said softly. Humans burn fast. My kind, we live on echoes. Then let me be your echo, he said. That night, a storm rolled across the horizon. The wind howled through the domes, and the greenhouse trembled as electric arcs danced across the glass. Alyra moved quickly, shielding the fragile vines, while Elias fought to keep the power running. A sudden explosion of light tore through the sky, a transport ship losing control, spiraling downward. Elias knew the sound too well. That's a distress signal, he shouted. Don't go, Alyra cried, grabbing his arm. The storms. He smiled through the roaring wind. You said love never stops growing, right? I'll be back. And he ran into the storm. Hours passed before he returned, battered but alive, dragging a wounded pilot to safety. Alyra met him at the entrance, tears of relief streaking down her luminous face. You came back, she whispered. I told you, he said, collapsing into her arms. I found my place. Weeks later, when the skies cleared and the market reopened, travelers whispered of a strange sight. A human and a Sci-fi woman walking together, selling memory fruits that glowed with a new color, gold. Alyra never told anyone what emotion grew that fruit. But Elias knew. Every time he tasted it, he felt warmth spreading through his chest again, the same warmth he had felt the first day he met her. It was love reborn, tender and patient, born not from the ashes of loss, but from the courage to feel again. And sometimes, when the twin suns sank behind the glass of the greenhouse, Elias would laugh and say, I only came to buy fruit. Alyra would smile, her voice soft as starlight. And you left with a heart.